My sister destroyed my life with fake emails. 10 years later, they're begging at my door. I need to tell you about the day I became invisible to my own parents. I was 18, 3 weeks from high school graduation, when I found the acceptance letter. Not just any acceptance letter. King's College London, one of the most prestigious institutions in the world. Full scholarship for pre-med. My ticket out. My chance to finally be something other than the disappointing shadow in my sister's spotlight. I'd been living in that shadow my entire life. Madison was 4 years older, and from the moment she could walk, she was golden. Straight A's without trying. Captain of the debate team. Homecoming queen. Every parent-teacher conference was a celebration. Every dinner table conversation revolved around her latest achievement. My parents had already spent $40,000 sending her to Stanford, and they talked about it like it was the best investment they'd ever made. Me? I was the afterthought. The, "oh right, we have another kid," child. My report cards got a glance. My soccer games were attended if they didn't conflict with Madison's schedule. When I made honor roll, I got a, "that's nice, honey," while Madison got a weekend trip to San Francisco for maintaining her 4.0 GPA. I'm not trying to make you feel sorry for me. I'm just setting the scene so you understand what came next. The King's College acceptance was my secret weapon. I had applied on my own, written the essays during lunch periods, forged my dad's signature on the recommendation requests. I knew my parents wouldn't pay for it, not when they were already stretched thin from Madison's education. But I had a plan. My Aunt Rebecca had always been different from my mother. Where my mother was an elementary school teacher who'd never left our hometown, Rebecca was a neurosurgeon at Johns Hopkins. She'd built an empire on precision and intelligence, never married, never had kids, but always treated me like I mattered. She'd slip me books about anatomy, ask me real questions about my interests, remember details about my life that my own parents forgot. So I called her. Told her about King's College, about the opportunity to study medicine in a system that actually valued academic merit over athletics and social status, about how this was my one shot to become something. Rebecca didn't hesitate. "I'll cover it, every penny. Tuition, housing, expenses. Consider it an investment in someone who actually gives a damn about learning." There was only one condition. "Don't tell your mother yet. She'll make it weird, make it about money and fairness and Madison. Get through graduation, get yourself settled in London, then we'll break the news together." I should have known better to keep secrets in that house. Madison had a sixth sense for when attention might shift away from her. She'd perfected this radar over 2 decades of being the center of the universe, and somehow she knew something was up. I came home from my part-time job at the grocery store one Thursday evening in May. The house felt wrong immediately. That electrical charge in the air that meant drama was brewing. I found my laptop on the kitchen table, open, destroyed. The screen cracked spiderweb style, keys missing, the whole thing obliterated like someone had taken a hammer to it. Madison was sitting there, tears streaming down her face, my mother's arm around her shoulders. My father stood against the counter, arms crossed, face dark with anger. "How could you?" My mother's voice shook. "Your own family!" I looked at the laptop, at Madison's tears, at my father's rage, and felt my stomach drop into my shoes. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb." Madison's voice cracked perfectly. Oscar-worthy. "I saw the emails, everything you've been saying about us, everything you've been telling Aunt Rebecca." She slid her phone across the table. On the screen were emails, from my account, to Rebecca's address, except I'd never written them. The first one detailed how my parents were suffocating and emotionally abusive, how I couldn't wait to escape their narrow-minded prison. The second one mocked Madison, calling her a vapid princess who'd sleep her way through Stanford. The third was worst. It claimed I'd been secretly recording family conversations, gathering evidence of my parents' failures, planning to write some kind of exposé once I was safely in England. And the last email? The killing blow? "I know I'm selling out my family for your money, but honestly, they're not worth my loyalty. Once I'm at King's College, I'm cutting them off completely. They're dead to me. This is just business." I felt like I was falling through the floor. "I didn't write these. Madison, this is insane. I never—" "Your email address, your login, these came from your account." My father's voice was ice. "Rebecca called your mother today, told her about this secret arrangement you two had, said she was concerned about some things you'd been saying about us." That's when I understood. Madison hadn't just read my emails. She'd created new ones. She'd broken into my account. My password was embarrassingly simple, our dog's name and my birth year. Crafted these messages, probably sent them to herself first to make sure they looked real, then destroyed my laptop so I couldn't prove anything. And she'd gotten to Rebecca first. Somehow poisoned that well, too. Call Aunt Rebecca right now, please. Let me talk to her. This is fake, all of it, I swear. Rebecca already said she's reconsidering the arrangement. My mother's tears were real. She actually believed this. She said maybe she'd been too hasty, that she didn't realize how you really felt about us. Madison must have called her, pretending to be concerned, showing her these fabricated emails, playing the worried sister. Rebecca, who dealt with life-or-death decisions daily, who trusted evidence, would have seen these emails and questioned everything. You have 2 hours. My father picked up my destroyed laptop and dropped it in the trash. Pack your essentials. Get out of this house. If you hate us so much, if we're so terrible, go find somewhere else to live. See how you do on your own. Dad, please. You're 18, legally an adult. We have no obligation to house someone who's actively working against this family. I looked at Madison. Just for a second, her mask slipped. The crying stopped. Her eyes met mine, and there was nothing there but cold calculation and satisfaction. She'd won. Whatever game we'd been playing our entire lives, the competition for our parents' attention, for resources, for love, she just delivered the checkmate. She'd burned my life down to the ground to protect her position as the golden child. I packed 2 duffel bags. Clothes, my backup hard drive with college documents, some books, photos I knew I'd never see again. Everything from my childhood was in that house, and I wouldn't be coming back for it. My mother cried in their bedroom. My father stood by the door waiting to lock it behind me. Madison watched from the top of the stairs, tissues in hand, playing the traumatized victim to the very end. I threw my bags in my 15-year-old Honda Civic and drove. No plan, no destination. Just drove until I ended up in a Walmart parking lot 3 towns over, crying so hard I couldn't breathe, calling the one person who might believe me. Rebecca answered on the second ring. Before you say anything, I gasped out, did Madison contact you today? Silence. Then, your sister called me this afternoon. She seemed very upset. She showed me some concerning emails. That she wrote, she faked them. She broke into my account and fabricated everything because she found out about King's College and couldn't stand that I might have something she didn't. More silence. I could hear Rebecca thinking, weighing evidence. Send me a screenshot of your sent folder right now. My hands shook as I pulled up my email on my phone. The sent folder showed normal messages, confirmations from King's College, some correspondence with professors, mundane stuff. Nothing like the emails Madison had shown everyone. I screenshotted everything, sent it to Rebecca. Those emails she showed you, I continued, did they come from my actual email address or were they just screenshots? Screenshots. Easy to fake. She could have created them in Photoshop in 20 minutes. Aunt Rebecca, I would never... I believe you, her voice was firm. Your sister is a very talented liar. I've known it since she was 12 and convinced your parents that you'd stolen money from your mother's purse when she'd actually spent it on concert tickets. She's always been very good at playing victim. Something broke open in my chest. Someone believed me. Where are you right now? Walmart parking lot. They kicked me out. Dad gave me 2 hours. Come to Baltimore, tonight. I have a guest room, and we have a lot to sort out before you leave for London in September. I lived with Rebecca for 3 months before my flight to England. She'd already paid the tuition, but she added something else, a stern lecture to my parents that I never heard but could imagine, and a complete emotional firewall between me and my birth family. You don't owe them anything, she told me the night before I left. Not explanations, not forgiveness, not updates on your life. They made their choice. Madison showed them who she really is, and they chose her version of events. That's on them. King's College was everything I'd hoped. The medical program was brutal but fair. Professors who actually knew my name. Research opportunities that made my resume glow. I graduated with honors, landed a residency at a top hospital in Boston, specialized in emergency medicine. By the time I was 28, I was making solid 6 figures, owned a condo, had a life that teenage me would have thought was impossible. Rebecca and I had dinner once a month. She'd become more than an aunt. She was the parent I should have had. I never contacted my family. Not once. I blocked all their numbers, filtered their emails to spam, removed myself from every possible avenue of communication. Through Rebecca, I heard occasional updates. Madison had graduated Stanford and come back home. She'd convinced my parents to let her take over their small commercial real estate business, 3 properties that generated decent rental income. My father, who'd always dreamed of expanding, had finally trusted his golden child with his legacy. Then, the pandemic hit. I was on the front lines, working 80-hour weeks, watching people die, learning trauma medicine in real time. It was hell, but it was purposeful hell. I was saving lives. My family's business, apparently, was not doing as well. Rebecca called me on Tuesday evening last March. "Your mother has been trying to reach me. Called 4 times today." "About what?" She wouldn't say. Just kept saying it was urgent, family emergency, needed to talk to you. My hands tightened on the phone. "Block her number." "Already done. But I thought you should know something's happened. Madison made some bad decisions during the lockdowns. Over-leveraged, took out loans against the properties, and tried to renovate during the worst possible time. Your parents' business is underwater. They're facing foreclosure on their own house." I felt nothing. Maybe I should have felt satisfaction or pity or something, but there was just nothing. These were strangers who'd thrown me away a decade ago. "Not my problem. I agree, but they're going to escalate. Be prepared." She was right. 2 weeks later, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello?" "Oh, thank God." My mother's voice, older, strained. "We've been trying to reach you for weeks." "How did you get this number?" "That's not important. Listen, we need to talk. Things have been very difficult, and Madison mentioned that you're doing well, and we thought maybe—" "No, you don't even know what I'm asking." "I don't need to. You kicked me out based on lies 10 years ago. You chose to believe Madison instead of your own son. You threw away my laptop, threw away me without even questioning her story. So no, whatever you're calling for, the answer is no." "We made a mistake." Her voice cracked. "We know that now," Madison admitted. "Well, she said things were complicated back then, that there were misunderstandings. She destroyed my life, and you helped her do it. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a choice. You all made choices. Now live with them." I hung up, blocked the number, felt my hands shaking with adrenaline. 3 days later, someone knocked on my apartment door at 8 p.m. I checked the peephole and saw Madison. She'd aged, not badly, but the effortless golden girl shine was gone. She looked tired, stressed, thinner than I remembered. But when I opened the door, keeping the chain on, her face arranged itself into that familiar expression, pleading, apologetic, the perfect mask of regret. "I know you don't want to see me. Then why are you here?" "Because I owe you an apology, because I've spent 10 years regretting what I did, because I was jealous and stupid and I ruined everything, and I need you to know that I'm sorry." I studied her through the gap in the door, looked for sincerity, found only calculation. "You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry it didn't work out for you. There's a difference." Her mask flickered. "The business is failing. Mom and Dad are going to lose the house. I made some bad investments during the pandemic, and I don't know how to fix it. But you're a doctor. You're successful. You could help." "I could, but I won't. We're family." "No, we're not. Family doesn't fabricate evidence to destroy each other. Family doesn't throw teenagers out onto the street. Family doesn't wait until they need something to apologize. You burned that bridge 10 years ago. I'm just declining to rebuild it. You're really going to let Mom and Dad lose everything? You lost it for them. You convinced them to trust you with their business, and you destroyed it. That's on you, not me." I closed the door, locked it, stood there listening to her knock 3 more times before finally leaving. Rebecca called me the next morning. "Your father is at my office, in the waiting room, demanding to see me. Want me to call security?" "Already handled, but he left a message. Says he and your mother need to speak with you together in person. Says it's not about money, though we both know that's exactly what it's about. Tell him I'll think about it." "Are you actually going to think about it?" "No, but it'll feel better if he has to wait for the rejection." But they didn't wait. They showed up at my apartment that Saturday morning, both of them, looking older and smaller than my memories. My father's hair was gray. My mother had worry lines etched deep around her eyes. I let them in, not because I forgave them, but because I wanted to see what I'd built without them. My medical journals on the bookshelf, my diplomas on the wall, the life I'd constructed from the ashes they'd left me in. We sat in my living room, awkward silence stretching between us. My father spoke first. "You've done well for yourself. No thanks to you." He flinched. "Good." My mother twisted her hands together. "We came to apologize, really apologize, not to ask for anything, just to say we're sorry. We should have listened to you 10 years ago. We should have questioned Madison's evidence. We should have been better parents." "Yes, you should have. Madison has admitted what she did. Not everything, but enough. She told us about the laptop, about faking the emails. She said she was scared of losing our attention, of you becoming the favorite. She said she panicked. So it only took you a decade and financial ruin to believe your son over your daughter. That's actually impressive loyalty to the wrong person." My mother's eyes filled with tears. "Please don't be cruel. We know we failed you. We know we can't undo what happened, but you're our son." "I stopped being your son when you packed my bags." "We want to make it right," my father said. "Whatever it takes. We can rebuild our relationship, start over." "Let me guess. After I help you save the business." The silence that followed was answer enough. "Here's what's going to happen," I said, standing up. "Nothing. You're going to leave my apartment, go back to your lives, and deal with the consequences of trusting Madison with everything. I'm going to continue living my life, the one I built with Rebecca's support, the one that has nothing to do with you. And we're never going to have this conversation again." "You're going to let us lose everything?" My father's voice rose. "After everything we did for you growing up? You mean the food and shelter you were legally obligated to provide until I was 18? The bare minimum of parenting? That's what you're holding over me? We're your parents. You were my parents. Past tense. You fired yourself from that job in May 2014 when you chose Madison's lies over your own son's truth. I don't owe you anything. Not money, not forgiveness, not a relationship. You made your choices. I'm making mine." My mother stood up, reaching for me. "Please, no. I'm not the desperate 18-year-old you threw away anymore. I'm not the backup plan you can run to when Madison fails. I'm not your son. I'm just someone you used to know who's asking you to leave." My father's face went dark. "You'll regret this. When we're gone, when it's too late. I've had 10 years to regret things. The only thing I regret is not realizing sooner what kind of people you are. Now get out." They left. My mother crying, my father rigid with anger. I watched from my window as they got into their aging sedan and drove away. Then I called Rebecca. They came by. "And?" I told them no. I told them we're done. I meant it. "Good." I could hear the pride in her voice. "How do you feel?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. Waited for guilt or sadness or some complicated emotion about watching my birth family crumble. "Free," I said finally. "I feel free." Last week I got a letter. Not an email, not a phone call, an actual letter, forwarded from Rebecca's address. Madison's handwriting. I threw it away without opening it. Some bridges deserve to stay burned. Some families are toxic from the foundation, and sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is permission to walk away from people who will never value you the way you deserve. I'm 30 now. I have friends who are family. I have Rebecca who showed me what real love looks like. I have a career that matters, a life that's mine, a future that nobody can take away. And I have peace. That's worth more than all the apologies in the world. Related comments. Your Aunt Rebecca is the real MVP here. As someone who also works in medicine, I can tell you that neurosurgeons don't just hand out full rides to college on a whim. She saw something in you that your parents were too blind to see. The fact that she believed you immediately when everything went down says she'd probably been watching Madison's manipulation tactics for years. Smart people recognize patterns. Your parents chose to ignore them. Comment. I'm probably alone in this, but I think you should have at least heard them out properly. Yes, what they did was horrible, and Madison is clearly a nightmare, but they're still your parents. They fed you, housed you, raised you for 18 years. That counts for something, doesn't it? My dad and I had a falling out when I was 23 over something stupid, and he died before we could fix it. I'd give anything for one more conversation. Just saying, 10 years is a long time to hold on to anger. Author. I appreciate your perspective, but there's a difference between something stupid and systematically believing fabricated evidence over your own child. They didn't just make a mistake, they chose Madison's version without even questioning it. And when they finally showed up, it wasn't because they missed me, it was because they needed money. That's not reconciliation, that's desperation. Comment. The laptop detail got me. She didn't just fake emails, she physically destroyed the evidence so you couldn't prove anything. That's premeditated. That's calculated. I had a similar situation with my older brother, not as extreme, but the same dynamic where he was the golden child and I was background noise. When I got into MIT, he told my parents I cheated on my SATs. It took me 3 months to clear my name, and by then, the damage was done. These people don't change. They just get better at hiding it. Comment. Anyone else think there might be more to this story? We're only hearing one side. Madison was jealous, sure, but jealous enough to orchestrate this entire scheme at 22? And the parents just believed everything without question? I don't know. Something feels off. Maybe the family dynamic was more complicated than OP is letting on. Maybe there were other incidents that made them more likely to believe Madison. Not saying OP is lying, just saying family stories are never this black and white. Author. I appreciate your perspective, but I was pretty detailed about the favoritism. Madison had been the center of their universe for 22 years. When she came to them crying with evidence, why would they question her? She'd never given them a reason to doubt her before, and that's exactly what made her so effective at manipulation. Comment. Former family law attorney here. What Madison did could potentially be considered fraud, identity theft, and possibly even blackmail, depending on jurisdiction. If you still have any of those fabricated emails or evidence of what happened, you might actually have a case. The statute of limitations varies by state, but some forms of fraud can be prosecuted up to 10 years after discovery. Not saying you should pursue it, but you'd be well within your rights. Document everything they've sent you since reconnecting, including that letter you threw away. You never know when you might need it. Comment. The I feel free part at the end hit different. I cut off my toxic mom 4 years ago after she tried to sabotage my engagement because she didn't like my fiancé. Everyone told me I'd regret it, that I'd feel guilty, that family is family. But honestly, life got so much lighter without her constant drama. Some people are emotional vampires, and they don't stop just because you share DNA. Good for you for protecting your peace. Rebecca sounds like she was the parent you deserved all along. Write what you think about this situation. Also, if you like this video, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the bell to receive notifications about the latest videos. See you next time. Bye-bye.